You're watching WAMTV and I'm joined here today with Robert Carlyle. Hi Robert, how are you doing?
I'm pretty wet actually. I've been out getting photographs taken and I'm pretty wet, but I'm in good spirits.
Okay Robert, you're basically one of the few actors who are not typecast. How do you avoid the stigma?
It's difficult actually, even for myself to do that. There's a certain amount of offers that you get. Say for instance, if I get 10 scripts coming in a month or something, 8 of them are going to be psychos. So I have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. And the ones that you do pick to play, if it is on the psycho front, hopefully you can see a difference within the madness from character to character. They're not all just mental. You know what I mean? There's degrees of mentalness in them all.
Right, so would you say that you played the character or do you become the character?
I play the character, for sure. I don't believe anybody says they become it, to be honest with you. I don't believe it for a second.
So would you categorise yourself as a method actor?
No. I think that every actor, what I always say about this is that every actor's got their own method, and that's cool. And if it works for them, that's fine. I mean, some people it's all about research, actually. I mean, and some actors take research to a different place. I used to. It's really, really thoroughly. Nowadays, it's more difficult for me because I can't really go out to pubs and bars or wherever I'm going to see the sort of people I want to look at without being the watched. The observer became the observed in the end. So that's the bane of my life. But so most of my research nowadays is through literature and videotapes and stuff like that. But I still think it's a very, very important thing. Very important thing to know where you're from when you start any movie. Even if that doesn't come up, even if it's not relevant, even if you never see that, it's important for you to know where you come from and where you're going.
Now you've done a lot of stage work. How does this compare with the on-screen work that you've done?
There's no comparison between film and theatre at all. There is none. I mean, the only thing that's similar is you learn lines, and even in film, I don't learn lines that much. It's not like, say, for instance, a Shakespeare piece where you have to know every line, every comma. It's different with film, particularly modern film, because you have the opportunity to improvise, and it's an awful lot looser. The whole situation's an awful lot looser. So, I'm sorry, I'm just looking over at Liz, looking at me here. I've lost my thread there. Where was I? Sorry.
You were just talking about theatre film.
Yes, theatre film. No, there's no comparison between them. Learning the lines. In theatre, it's a much bigger style, I mean, you need to throw this thing out. In film, if you adopt a theatrical performance on film, you're in trouble. You're in big, big trouble. You're going to end up looking like maybe the character actors of the British films of the 30s and the 40s, when it was all very like that, very clipped. And there was a kind of style of speech back then as well, but a certain style of movement also. That's all gone. If you try and apply anything like that onto film, I think you'd be in trouble.
Speaking with such a good Scottish accent, which you do you find in the film industry that they try to nullify that?
I don't really. Hollywood isn't really an entity for me. It doesn't matter that much to me at all. The American film industry is different from the Hollywood industry. That's a big distinction there, and I think there's some fantastic American filmmakers. John Sayles, the Coen brothers, Jim Jarmusch, people like that are fantastic filmmakers. And then you've got Hollywood on the other side. So I mean, somebody like me with this accent is not going to fit into any kind of Hollywood movie. I can change my accent accordingly. But it's whether I choose to do that or not. It's whether I choose to accept these films or not.
You're a very private person and you stay out of the press. You manage to stay out of the press. How do you combat this with being such a prominent figure in film?
I think you just have to be very careful about what you undertake. Like for instance, chat shows and stuff. I've never done a chat show in my life, and I quite enjoy watching them actually, but I just don't particularly want to be on one. I think that 4-minute, 5-minute thing is kind of demeaning in a sense. I don't think you can really get across any points in such a short space of time like that. Plus people become more familiar with you then if they see how you move, how you talk, how you put your hands through your hair or whatever it is that you do. These are things which are mine, these are things that I maybe bring out in characters, and the way that I talk or the way that I look. That's why it's good to keep that little bit of yourself back. I've always attempted to do that, and I think I've been successful in doing that. People know me, but they don't know me. It's important.
Okay, well, Robert, thanks very much for joining us here at WAMTV.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. You've been watching Robert Carlyle with me, Danny, on WAMTV.